Right, good morning. How are we doing? If you are coming in, drop a hello in the comments. Let me know you're in. So my meals are okay, but it's the bits in between that I struggle with. Let me know if you do struggle with that as well, as it comes up quite a lot. And I'll be honest, if there are certain days where maybe haven't eaten a lot yesterday and then I've skipped breakfast, started early, there is that temptation that I'll just get a little bit hungry and I'm like, is it too early for lunch? Is it not? And all these things start to come in from this. But when I speak to people, it's generally that they're trying to make changes at their meals first, which is great, by the way. We know that having more protein at your meal, increasing your fibre, all these things are going to benefit our hunger hormones and make us feel more satisfied and in control. But the problem comes when we try so hard and we feel like, if you ever said you're now I'm on a diet and you kind of want to have everything, well, little do we know that our expectations actually do impact this as well. So if you believe that I'm just going to start today, I'm going to be on a diet and I will be hungry, you probably will be hungrier, which is scary, the power of our minds. But going back to this, we sometimes change our meals first, which some people say to me, my other half, meat and two veg kind of guy, so that's what we have, and I know I need to cut down on the carbs or something like that. But then we forget about what happens when we potentially try and do that. Well, are we then hungry in between meals? And some of this is, of course, context specific. I can't say for everyone that having just eat bigger meals is going to work for you. But if you're someone who is in control of your breakfast, say, not many people mess up their breakfast, right? Because they get up, the food's in their kitchen normally, they sit down, they have their breakfast, or even if it's have on the go, it's something that you've brought in, right? Your willpower is generally higher in the morning as well, so rarely you go, you know what, I'll have a pizza for breakfast, or I'll have some biscuits or whatever. People generally make better choices then. So given that then maybe you're someone who's on the go, busy throughout the morning, maybe you're catching a train somewhere or whatever, and your choices are limited, maybe this is a good opportunity to go, okay, should I have a bigger meal so I don't need to snack? Or can I plan that snack? They're the key questions that you want to look at. But if we can make sure that we're getting at those meals, like let's take lunch now. I know quite a lot of people who will go, I've cut out potatoes, lunch, and I'm starving. 3 o'clock, I end up having a breakfast bar, a cereal bar, or then a piece of fruit, then I'm still hungry, then I have this, and this. And they start to add up, and all of a sudden we could have had another meal. Like, it sounds odd, but your body doesn't discriminate. It doesn't, if it's a snack or if it's a meal, it's the calories which count. So could it be worth actually keeping that meal and making it potentially bigger? Are you having protein with every meal, first and foremost? That would be something that I'd work on straight away. So take from this, if you're struggling with those bits in betweens, are your meals actually enough? Are you getting protein with every meal? We know that it's not just how much protein throughout the day, but the bolus is of protein throughout the day. You're having all your protein with one meal in the evening, like a lot of people do, and it's harder than you think to sometimes hit your protein targets, especially when we consider muscle loss with age. As we age, we lose more muscle with this as well, so we potentially need more, and we potentially need higher quality protein. More on that another day. But so can you get some protein in at your breakfast? We know that people who have protein at breakfast tend to subconsciously eat less throughout the day, whether that's whey protein, whether that's egg-based, whether that's even Greek yogurt, just some to name a few in there. But even if you go for something like porridge, for example, especially in this weather, it's quite warming, comforting. The viscosity of it can help you keep you fuller for longer, the fibre content as well. Lunches, like we know that people often actually skimp on lunch a little bit, and that mid-afternoon, and what comes out mid-afternoon? When you're hungry, when you're a bit tired, your willpower's a bit lower, you get that drop. Our circadian rhythm works like that as well. We get that little drop mid-afternoon at 3:23 p.m. Note that time down later, write it down, then at 3:23, look at the time and how you feel. You're going to feel full and satisfied after your protein-enriched lunch, I think. So we know that this can happen. Then what happens? It's Karen's birthday, it's Jane's birthday, Jane's uncle's brother's birthday. All these things come into it. They brought cakes in, biscuits in, and you're like, I've just had a cake and biscuit. And you blame yourself, you blame your willpower. But actually, it's not really. They're highly palatable food. They're delicious, they're tasty. Yes, we've got to make compromises, of course. But would we make a different choice if we had an alternative, number one? Number two, if maybe we were a bit more full up from lunchtime? Potentially. Not always, but potentially. I'm not saying definitely. Remember, we're adults. We can make these choices that we want to make. There's benefits and consequences to all these choices that we have. But my advice to you would be to actually look at, okay, as this happened in the convo last week, am I just scared of carbs at the moment, but actually then eating carbs as snacks and potentially more process-based foods because I'm so scared of carbs, I cut out the carbs that I get starving mid-afternoon. That's kind of what was happening. So rather than have the jacket potato with my lunch, what was happening is they were not having that, but then snacking later on mid-afternoon. Whereas actually we know that a potato in itself is quite a nutritious food. It's grown, it's a plant, it contains potassium. Or if you go sweet potato, you're going to get a bit more vitamin A in there. So there's lots of benefits in on here. We shouldn't be necessarily fearing this stuff. It's what you do on average that counts. So also consider that potatoes are actually ranked quite higher on satiety, so how full you feel, which is quite interesting. But, it does come down to choices, but it might be that we look at, can we get protein in every meal? Can we have bigger meals? Will this help our snacking in between? And do we just go down the rule of 3 meals and done? Because I know it sounds obvious, but 3 meals done, there's less to organise. Like most people say, one of my biggest obstacles is I don't have the time. I don't have the time to plan my meals, plan this. If we have 3 meals, I don't need to plan my snacks anymore. Done. That's a lot easier. That's one less thing to think about. That's why fasting can work well for a lot of people if they plan their meals, we find. Anyway, I hope that helps then, gives you some food for thought. Like, don't fear carbs, get protein in at every meal, and plan those meals in. If you want to fast, great, just make sure you plan that opening meal when you break that fast. Can you get some good fibre in there? Lots of vegetables, lots of protein in there, that's going to help with you. So, I hope that helps. Any questions on that, do let me know. Remember, these are the types of things we're going to be touching on in terms of actionable steps in our 21-day pre-Christmas habit challenge, which starts on the 28th, which is a week today, 28th. So it's small habits that you can add into your routine. This isn't one necessarily, but like the protein we're talking about now, getting protein at breakfast, what a difference that can make on your whole day. We know from a blood sugar level point of view, from a hunger level point of view. So let me know what you are going to try from here. I'd be interested to know. Do you struggle with the bits in between? Is it, because I'd say what's the best things to snack on? It's probably the most common question I have. But what about if we can eradicate that problem, that whole other thing, that whole dimension that we add into quote unquote eating healthily? What would happen to the snack aisles of all their palatable dry food? Anyway, more on that another day. Any questions, let me know, and I will see you